Hey, buddy. Okay, so I am taking a break from Minecraft for a little while because I was getting a little bored of it, and I started playing Empire Earth. So I wanted to make a little bit of a video of me playing Empire Earth 2. This is the expansion and how I play. So I could put this on like multiple teams and everything, but I didn't want this game to be very long, and I find the more players you have, the longer the game takes. So it's just one-on-one versus computer. Um, I put it on the middle one where there's no handicaps for me, so I'm just going up against the computer. I should have no problem winning this. Um, so a few things I did set up. I already have the map explored. I have a population of 60. Map is just small because I don't want to spend all day chasing the computer around. Okay, and launch. Okay, so I usually play as the Americans. The one thing that they do give me is the Minutemen, which is pretty decent unit to have. In fact, it's my primary unit I use. So as soon as you start off, you have 20 villagers and you have a scout. So the first thing I do is I max out all my food making more villagers. I go to the scout, get him exploring. He doesn't really do anything for me. I actually start off in a pretty lucky spot because I have right there is the only way they can really attack me. They can build bridges and stuff, but we'll get to that in a little bit. Okay, so I take 10 villagers and I immediately have them start chopping down wood. The reason being is because when you start off, your biggest problem is getting wood. Like everything takes wood when you start off, including barracks and farms and everything. So I have 20 collecting wood. I have 6 doing gold, and then I always have 2 guys getting stone. Now, with the rest of the things, I start building farms. Food is the once you get your wood under control, next problem is food. Um, so for the units I make Minutemen, and they take about 50 food and 50 gold. I forget the exact. I think it's like 54, 54, 56, and 56. So anyway, that's like my main thing. I need for a sustainable war, I need 3 gold mines. I don't see any other in this little back corner, which means I'm gonna have to expand. So I'll probably come over here. No, he's over there. I'm not really sure what I'll do yet, but I'm gonna have to figure it out. Um, so I usually try to get about 10 farmers, um, which looks like I only have 100. Okay, I need to get somebody building my defensive walls and stuff. So, um, but anyway, that's the biggest problem. So, first thing for my defense, I'm going to build a wall from here to here. And it's small, but it'll cut it off. They are going to attack. They're probably going to build a bridge over here and attack me. My exploring guy, he goes around, kind of sees what they're up to, you know. Okay, can I start? Yes, I can. Okay, cool. So as soon as I can build a couple barracks, I build them. Now, with this game in particular, it's a very what I call a second strike game. And what I mean by that is it doesn't matter how good you do in the beginning as long as you survive. What matters is your sustainability. So that's why I spent so much time and effort getting my economy up in the game because a lot of these, like a lot of the matches, don't come down to your initial wave. It comes down to like, hours into the game. The last game I played was 3-on-3, and I spent 11 and a half hours gaming on it. So anyway, here's my little game clock. Um, so the reason I keep track of that is because by 12 minutes, I need to have a military force of at least 30 or 40 because that's when I start getting attacked. So I keep track of that so I can make sure my force is up and where it needs to be. So next, let's see that, and I'm going to do fine. I think I have a good amount of food, so I'm at least going to get my defense up. And then what I think I'm going to do is, yep, they build a road. Okay, so I'll build a bridge right here, and that's how I actually cross them for my first attack. I have to be careful though because the computer's going to attack me in about 10 minutes. That's usually about when the computer does its thing. So I like to make sure I'm ready for a counterattack at about 10 minutes. Um, okay, so you might be asking why I don't collect other resources, and it's mainly because the way I play, I don't really use them very much. Um, I mostly use food and gold, so it's kind of where I kind of concentrate. This right here is like a nomadic tribe. It's supposed to be neutral, but if I want, I can attack and invade, and then make them become like a like an ally. I try not to do that. It ends up spreading your forces out kind of thin. And let's see, I have 4 minutes to get more forces, so I'm trying to just concentrate on this. Now, one thing you can do to speed up is right now you see how they're collecting and walking all the way over here. So one thing you can do to speed stuff up is you can build more of, what are these called? Warehouses. And then to my defense, build that, and then I'm going to start all wall soon. Okay, so once I get my second one set up, I always produce 10. Now, 4 of them will always be for a university. Now, in this game, you can technologically advance, and you might have noticed I haven't really talked about that yet, and that's because it's kind of a secondary thing for me in the way I play. Let's build another warehouse right next to the goal, right next there, and then so now I actually will collect 2. You can have up to 6 people collecting one ore. Um, so generally, oh, see more gold, cool. Anyway, so you can have up to 6 people. So I only assign 6 people to each ore thing. Well, the thing is about iron and zinc is that for the way I play, I don't need more than 2 or 3 people really producing it. So I just don't worry about it. So now you can see for each territory and town center you can have 60 people. So that's what brings me to my 125 right now. Actually, I'm not sure where the extra 5 comes from. But anyway, you can add 5 more if you build houses. So each territory can get its own house. Let's see. That's kind of cool. Let's build that down in the pit. Okay, so now I have that. Let's see. So they should be coming to attack me soon, which means I need to get more produced. Yeah, 16 is just not enough. So they will probably. Let's see, how many do I have there? Okay, so that's all 6 I need there. I think they're probably going to come across this way, or I think there's an opening in the tree, so they might be able to come that way. So either way, I'm going to start massing all my units on this side, and that will help me be able to defend myself and then counterattack. I think this is going to be too far from the attack. So you have to try really hard to arrange things so that they don't just blow through, because sometimes they'll attack you from a direction you're not expecting. Like, let's say they were to build a bridge here. Well, if they did that, then they might be able to get as far in as like where all your economy stuff is, like take out your mines or your farms, and that kind of just sets you back. So I try to be real careful with that. The computer is not super like tactical, so I don't really know if they're gonna think that deeply into it. But in case they do, my plan is to just recall my forces over there. Right now, all my stuff's small enough and close enough together that I should be able to defend myself pretty well. Um, so depending on if you, am I trapped? I am trapped. Damn. So that's bad. So they trapped there. So I'm going to produce 4 or 5. Normally, I don't need to worry too much about wood after my initial 10 are good. Like, as you can see, I'm all the way up to 1100. And I don't need to worry about when I build or anything anymore. But in this case, I want to get all these trees eliminated because if this does become a prolonged battle, I'm going to need the space to be able to expand. So the way universities work is that once you build one, you need to populate it. So I like to put 4 citizens in there. That's the max I can have at this age. And that'll make it the fastest production time. And then I have 6 people there, so I'm going to use him to build towers. So let's see, make you go there. Have you start clearing out the wood around there, and then I'll put 1 extra there and 1 extra there. Let's see, these 3. We go work on wood. Okay, so after I get through the initial of everything, I try to max out the amount of houses I have. Also, when you're playing the computer doesn't generally pick and choose what targets it'll aim for. Meaning that, let's say you have a bunch of houses and barracks and castles and stuff. Well, the enemy force will come in and they could attack your houses before they attack your barracks. Now, it's not really good losing anything. Okay, so let me talk to you about this again. Tech tree. So I can't move up levels right now. I'm only in the Middle Ages. But you can still upgrade. So the first thing I do is I upgrade all my military stuff. Now, you need to build certain buildings for you to upgrade your military stuff. So what I always do is build a stable. I don't really build this stuff too strategically. I just kind of spread it out. The reason I don't do that is because I don't really use anything. I really just build the Minutemen. That's all I use in the Middle Ages against the computer because it's kind of all I need. So right now I'm actually building a sizable force. So I'm not really sure. Usually they've attacked me by now and they're not attacking. So I'll give it to about a few more minutes and then I'll go out and find them and try to draw them into a battle. So I try to keep everything as efficient as possible in this game. So all my units are always doing something. For example, my barracks and stuff, they're always going to be producing. My builders I'm going to try to keep them so they're always building. And it doesn't really do all that much for you, I guess. But I find it wasteful if you have like a building that's supposed to be doing something that's not. So since generally speaking, I keep my economy very well established. Let's see. I'm gonna go out. I'm gonna venture out and try to build like a castle right here to protect the front of that gate. So in the old one, like in Empire Earth 1, you didn't have these like territories to capture. So that was good because there's a few things that those territories did that made the game a lot harder, but a lot like harder in a good way. So one of them is that you're now capped on how many buildings you can have in a certain area. So for example, I have a city center, and then that makes this area which is called Milwaukee. Inside, I can only have 6 houses. I can have, I think, I can have 7 wall towers, 2 castles, and 7 outposts. Well, when you play the first one, what people would do is they'd build their entire wall out of castles. And that kind of made it very hard for you to attack them because they would have literally like hundreds of castles. Let's see if I can draw them out into a battle. Now they limit it, which is good if you're on the offense, but it kind of makes things a little harder if you're on defense now. Which is fine. Challenging is never a bad thing. Okay, so 1.5 added a few things, and one of them is a windmill. A windmill makes your farms ultra efficient. So since I work, okay, Oh man. So when they have artillery, I try to concentrate my fire on artillery first because the artillery might have a slow rate of fire, but when they shoot, they will take out multiple of your guys. So artillery is generally the best to target first. So trebuchets especially, these guys are doing that. I am going to need to reinforce them. Well, I'm going to need these guys. So what the computer does, and they do this often, is as soon as they start getting attacked, they start to realize where they're weak at, and they start trying to build castles. So you almost have to be aware that behind you, even if you're winning, they're going to be building castles. So, so this guy put a spell on me, and I can't move or fight or defend myself. So I'm probably going to lose that entire force right there because yeah, I can't like there we go. Okay, so not bad. I spread my guys too thin, and then as you can see, I let them get the castle built. So they put another spell on me. So let's get over here. Yeah, okay, so I'm going to lose that force. So let's start rebuilding. So what they're probably going to do is immediately counterattack, and I'm not the strongest up there anymore since I just lost my entire force. So we're doing what we can do. Okay, so when it comes to upgrading, or ooh, uh, so when it comes to upgrading the stuff, the best thing to do, really, is to, I still only have 16. I don't want to go after. I don't want to do it at 16. Yeah, so once this goes through, they're gonna like blow through that wall probably. So let's get out here and see if you can engage these guys from the rear. Okay, so they might break through actually. Let's see if we can build more barracks. I can't over there. Yeah, so right now I have the amount of resources I need to produce a lot of stuff. What I don't have is the barracks capacity. So that's like the number one thing I need to get up. And they're gonna run, actually, I might lose this because they're just gonna run right through right now. Um, man. Okay, I need to, okay, they are retreating for some reason. Yeah, the computer does like stupid stuff like that. Like they should just push in, but they're not, and that's lucky for me. But if it was like a human player, they would have just pushed in, overran everything because they were really close. Sometimes they don't quite realize how like close I was to breaking. So what they will do is they're attacking, then they notice, them pushing in, like pushing them back, so they retreat and they regroup. Um, what I should have done was emphasize my production a little more. So instead of having just a few, it's just 5 barracks. I should have made like, well, I'm going up to 10 now, but realistically, okay, so you need these guys down here to protect against a breakthrough against that wall. Yeah. Anyway, so I should have done that because I have all the resources. If I have the food, I have the gold. So really, the main problem I had was, okay, well, damn, man, they are really doing a good job here. No, wait, you guys get back up here, kill him. they're doing a good job keeping pressure on. Um, this isn't on the easiest setting, but it's not on the hardest either. Like I should have done better with this than what I am. Yeah, see, okay, see, that was a trap, so. Anyway, so the idea is just to keep as much of this, as much production available as possible. As you can see, they broke through there, so that's going to go up, and I think I'm going to build a castle right here in the middle. Um, they can break through here, especially with the amount of forces they're pushing in, but I think it's going to be unlikely because of how close it is to my barracks. I think what's going to end up happening is they're going to fall back from here, and then I think I'm going to be able to slowly push them back. The trebuchets are a problem, the cannons are a problem because each one of them kills like multiple guys with one hit. So I'm not a big fan of them. I probably should use them more, but they're really expensive, and I don't like having a military that uses a bunch of different things. The problem is that if it uses a um, bunch of different units, now you have to. Oh crap! All right, I'm gonna need to. Yeah, see, this is what I was afraid of. See, they ended up splitting. So let's get these guys killed off, and then you can move south. Okay, let's get down here. Yeah. Eh, build another barracks there. Luckily, they didn't kill too many of my actual guys. Alright, so probably not the best example. I think I should have had my stuff a little bit more under control before I wanted to show you how to do it. Um, but anyway, we'll do it. So one of the things about producing stuff, you want to produce stuff and send them right to the battle. That like makes sense, except for the fact that when they're moving towards the battle lines, they can't attack anybody. So the issue is that while they're moving, they're not attacking. So if you have them move to the center of the battle, and the whole time they're walking actually towards the center of the battle, they're not actually like fighting anybody, um, and they can actually get like killed off as they're just walking. Okay, so now that I have that, I can start building towers around here. What they try to do is sneak spies in and disrupt the production of your facilities, and that can be pretty taxing. Because if like they do it to like 3 or 4 of your barracks, there's 1/3 of your barracks that you can no longer. Um, you can no longer utilize because they're out of commission. So you're out of range there, so you guys can fall back. I have a good sized force there. It'll go better once the castle's built. Um, so basically, my plan is now is just to build up my force out of here and then push from there from here out. Okay, so I want to see what I'm producing because I'm running low on gold. There's no gold down here, and my 2 mines that I do have, I'm utilizing like to the max, so I can't really do anything about that. So I'm just kind of stuck until I conquer more territory. Let's see. Pull these guys back a little bit so that they can be within range of the uh, castle to support them. You want to actually utilize as many fixed buildings as possible because you have a population limit. So once I hit 260, it'll be about 300. Once I hit about 300, I can't build anymore until I get more territory. So, I try to use as much of the whatever I have available, I try to use. So in this case, I'm trying to build. I will have as many castles and uh, or forts and outposts as possible. That way, if they do break through a line, at least that will slow them down while I have a chance to engineer a counterattack. Um, anyway, so a few other things to talk about. Okay, so I don't think I ever talked about the technology tree. Okay, so the way it goes is that some of them you need to actually build stuff, like you need to have a stable available or something like that. See, these guys are the priests, man. They will sit there and cast spells, and like sometimes they'll give you like the plague, where suddenly all of your forces are at like 10% health. Like so, it's a very quick way for you to lose like an entire army worth of people. It's pretty annoying actually. So let's see if I can fit a fort. Okay, so I have 71. I don't like to attack with less than 100 in a mode like this, and since I'm holding pretty well in the south right now, I'm gonna just keep doing. Okay, so I won a crown. Each one does something different. So this one's the military crown, so you get to pick military stuff. Since I use infantry, I always try to use the infantry doctrine, unless I'm in a map where I'm doing a lot of naval stuff or something like that. But in this case, it says all light and heavy infantry, which is what my Minutemen are. They're considered heavy infantry. Inflict more damage if increased hit points during duration. So let me accept that. Um, Anyway, and now I'm just waiting for my forces to build up a little bit. I am using my builders to try to max out on the amount of houses and then castles. I have an economic leader. I don't use them. I just kill them off. They're pretty strong, but if you have like an army and you're trying to combine them into an army, sometimes the guy with flag's an army. Anyway, it just makes your guys a little stronger and a little stronger and more hit points. Um. Anyway, let's see if I can fit yeah, perfect. If I was playing with more people on my team, I would have built a market by now, and that's because a market lets you trade, and a lot of the computer like they won't get 3 or 4 gold mines, they'll get 1 or 2, and then they will get the rest of their gold via trade. So it really helps you out in the long run to support the computer, like your computer teammates. Okay, so now that I have a good size force, I'm going to make them Army 1, and that's just so I can click back to them pretty easily. I think I did that wrong. Okay. So first thing I do is I always aim for the priest first so that they don't do that plague thing where suddenly all my guys are about ready to die. Okay, now I have that broken. Then I go after their castle. The reason I hit the castle is because castles are actually pretty strong in this game. They're actually called forts, not castles. And they're really hard to take out, and they take out, if I was to attack with 40 of my guys against a castle without any siege weapons, it would take almost all 40 of them, like, will die in order to take out that castle. That's why I like going in with 100, because, like, the extra firepower destroys them so quick. Okay, so once you start pushing, one, you have to remember that just because you're winning, that doesn't mean you can stop building. You always have to be creating more and working with your guys in order to ensure that you have what is called a second strike. Second strike means, yeah, you have an army now, but that army is going to die off eventually. So you have to make sure you have the ability to replace your army once it's gone. So remember I said as soon as you attack them, they start building forts. Well, that's what they're trying to do here. So I'm basically attacking the fort, and I'm basically killing it faster than they can build it, so it's never going to get built. And as soon as they destroy that target, each computerized unit will start engaging what they feel like should engage. So I think this army is not going to go too far in. I think they're just gonna stay here. Maybe I'll take them over into here to eliminate some of the other things. Some of the other, usually what they do is they spread out like their farms and everything. So each territory you can capture, you're actually reducing their ability to build reinforcements because you're destroying their units, you're destroying their means of production. So I don't want to go too far because I don't want to lose a bunch of my guys. Like, remember what I did last time I went in and I ended up losing like 50 guys? So I don't want to take them too far. I want to keep the pressure up though. In fact, I think if I hold right here, let me move these guys up. I'm going to combine both my southern force and this force into one big force, and they're not going to go anywhere. They're just going to hold right here, and it doesn't really do anything. It just slows them down. I'm basically cutting their territories in half because there's 3 of their territories they can't really get to. They can build a bridge and get over here, I guess, but it reduces what they can do. I could probably push far into them, but if they have a counterattack like last time, then these 90 guys will go pretty quick. So now that I destroyed all their stuff here, this is when you start doing fun stuff. You start actually capturing their area. So the reason I want to build one right here is so that, or a city center here, so I can build some more citizens or villagers, whatever they're called, to start collecting gold. Because gold is the one thing I'm running low on. I have plenty of food, and then I only have 3 people getting tin and 2 people getting iron. That's all I need because I don't use those for anything. So let's see. Okay, so I collected all the tech trees. So there's certain things you can do to earn a crown. So first, you need all of that tech to be complete. So I can't get military crown, so I get all that. But I'm always weakest when it comes to Imperial, because there's a lot of things I don't do that you probably should. Like, I don't have a market. I don't really expand. I don't emphasize expansion the way the computer does, so that makes it very hard to compete with the computer when they do that. I could do it, obviously. I just tend not to prioritize that. So now I have that built. I build castles or forts, and the forts are I'll build one here, and then I'll build the next one over here. And really, what they do is they help prevent the computer from recapturing territory, because that's happened not so much on small maps like this, but on really large maps. How many do I have? 85? Okay, I'll just keep building a little more. What will happen is on really large maps, you'll basically like take them from here to here to here. Meanwhile, they're just building up new areas, so it's really hard to pin them down. So what you're kind of forced to do is like actually fortify and build up territory. Okay, that's good. Okay, so this force is not going to invade. I'm holding them pretty well here. I'm not worried about them counterattacking. So what this force is going to do is take out whatever they have built over here. It's probably not much, but I don't want them to be able to get resources. And also, our max that we can have right now, like our top population, is 600 each. They have enough territories that they can have all 600 of their people. So that's dangerous for me because I'll be outnumbered. So what you need to do is start eliminating their territory so that they can no longer get 600. Because you can get, for each town center you have, you can get 60 obviously, plus you can build houses and stuff like that. So you're talking about potential about 120 people per territory. So once you're able to hold them back from attacking you, you don't really want to go into their main area all that quick. I mean, I know that's like, if you're like, oh, well, let's just do a frontal attack through their walls. And indeed, that does work sometimes, but right now I'm getting the idea that they're strong enough that they might be able to defend against that. So instead of doing a full attack, we're going to do what I call, or I don't actually have a good name for it. I guess we're just going to reduce them. We're just going to weaken them slowly. It's also a little safer for me because then I'm not putting all my forces at risk in the same way. All right, so after you do that, you have to move villagers in place because you have to be able to build, like, I'll build a fort there. Um, see if they have anything down here. You have to be careful with these guys, the like the barbarians, because if the computer gets to them, sometimes the computer will attack them, and it'll force them to become an ally with the computer. And it's not that they're extremely strong or anything. They're pretty weak and primitive. Like they're probably a level 2 when you're in Epic 6. But if you're not paying attention, all of a sudden they have 100 units that they're suddenly passing through your walls. You might be able to win, but you're going to take a lot of damage to get to that win. Okay, so make sure I'm still producing. Yeah, so as you can see, like, yeah, so I'm only producing a few. That's one of the problems is that they don't build up evenly. So let's say this barracks, so this barracks only has 10, this barracks has 12, and that's because this barracks already had 2 in the queue when you had them start building stuff. So it's just something to keep in mind that even though one's showing that has 20 in the queue, it doesn't mean you're actually making 20. It just means that that one is producing 20. Okay, so again, population thing. So as soon as you get into a fairly safe area, start building houses. I'm at 400, but they're at 400. They're probably close to what I am now. So we have to keep going. We have to keep reducing them. So we're gonna keep army number 1 where it is, and then take the 10th army group around here, and then start reducing what they have. Get in there. See, like roads is something, are also something. So, if you build roads, that'll help you with your imperial crown. I don't really do it too much. A lot of times it's because the way I build my cities don't really lay very well to building roads on top of it. So normally when I'm attacking something like this, I'm not under fire. The first thing I do is I destroy anything that produces stuff. So their barracks and stuff. And the reason being is because it sucks when you're attacking somewhere and they just keep producing like new units to counterattack with. I mean, like I understand why they do it. I'm not disagreeing with them doing it. It's just annoying. Okay, so this is something else they do is that they assume that you're not going to attack this guy. So if they're losing territory, sometimes they'll start gathering resources in here. You can go in there to go and counterattack them. It's just not high priority because they're probably only producing a little bit at a time. So, okay, so now I can move both these units up to create a nice little seal on their city. All right. So at this point, it's probably safe to say that I'm going to win. But like I told you before, never like assume that. Just keep producing new units as if you're about to lose. I've seen before, doesn't happen often, but every now and then, where it's like all these guys on the move. So like now, if they were to declare war, it would really actually wouldn't be too bad. They're not too strong. I have a castle right there. And I'll just recall one of these army groups. Okay, so when I actually do my final attack, I think what I'm going to do is build a bridge here, cross, and then get them to, well, actually I'll attack with these 2 groups on the wall first, and try to lead them away from here, because I'll bet you most of their production's happening back here. So, keep on building. I'm under attack over here. Let's see. Oh. they okay. Yeah, so sometimes they send villagers just out in the middle of nowhere. So it really helps if you can just, build a few things like outposts and forts and stuff so that their villagers can get, killed as they run by. Okay, so let's see. How many do I have here? 112. Okay, yeah, I'll start my attack. Okay, so war economy. War economy helps me build stuff faster and for cheaper. So the computer seems to have a problem. This is what I mean. Like the computer has a problem with when you're trying to go through a wall. Where if you only have one, like if you just take out one section of wall, sometimes it won't register right. So you'll end up getting like hung up. So even though it takes longer, generally speaking, I'll always attack like a gate or something, and it just speeds things along so that I don't have to worry about my guys getting trapped. Okay, so now they're in that side of the wall. Let's get you to build a bridge. Bridges are finicky because sometimes you can't build them, and this is also risky because once you build a bridge, you can't really destroy it. Like you can't delete it or anything. So if you built one and suddenly they start using it, that's kind of like, you're kind of stuck with that mode. The reason I'm building it here is because I'm confident that once I get over there, I don't have to worry about a strong counterattack. Like they're going to counterattack, of course, but I just took over. Who's attacking? Oh, okay. Attacked up here. Oh. Yeah, I'm pretty sure if they could have counterattacked, they would have counterattacked and reclaimed um, their units down here. So it leads me to believe that they're probably super weak right now, which means as soon as I cross over the bridge, I'm going to pretty much overrun whatever they have over there. So we'll call this Army Group 2 and just walk across. Take out their stable. Yeah, like, so if you take them away from each other and you just have one Minuteman, they're extremely weak. They have they have high hit points, but they have extremely long reload times. They're really weak against like melee guys, so guys like swordmen will just come up and everything. But in a group, they fire such a large volume that, like as you can see, even castles just fall apart. Um, so it's really one of those things where if you only have like 10 of them, they're probably not even worth using like that. Oh, see, what I tell you, every time you have to build up behind you because they try building castles. Let's get you guys here and see. Yeah, they pretty much fell apart. Um, they probably have a good amount of resources still in their bank. So let's say I was just to leave them alone for like a while, like maybe 20 minutes. It wouldn't take them long to rebuild and fortify and everything. But at this point, it's just, yeah, at this point, it's just they're not gonna have a chance to rebuild. I have way too many forces, and then even if I was to lose an entire army group right now, I'd still have the forces to rebuild. So, and then I always, like I said, always keep producing as if you're in the middle of the war. Um, I'm probably gonna have to go to war with these guys soon, so See, I have that guy attacking. Okay, so once you get to a certain, like a certain, I can take these guys out. Once you get to a certain point, you just know you're going to win, and it's what I call cleanup. So once we get cleanup, what I do is I take whatever forces I have and I just put them on explore. I'll usually make it so I can relocate them in case I need them to concentrate somewhere, but they just walk around and their only job is just to find more targets and eliminate them. This force is getting weak probably because they're out on their own. I haven't been paying attention, but like, yeah, let's get all this stuff eliminated. Um, so let's build some more towers. Anyway, so that's really all this game is. Yeah, I almost lost for a second there. They would have just kept pushing when they broke through my initial line. Oh man, I would have been a goner. Luckily though, they didn't do that. Okay, so now time to put second army on explore mode, first army on explore mode, and 10th army on explore mode. And what they do is they just walk in random direction. They try to locate and kill whatever they can. Um, I'm sure their last guys are probably in here somewhere. Yep, see, he offers surrender. Yes, I do accept your surrender. Examine the map. Yeah, I didn't miss any buildings or anything. Yeah, so pretty much the way I play, if I try to, I don't, you'll see when let me show you the next part because it's kind of hard to explain. If you hit continue, it takes you to this where you get to see everything that you've actually accomplished. As you can see, my Imperial score, not very good. And you'll see why in a second. I did have a lot of military crowns. I did have a lot of economic crowns because basically after I get through the first 20, maybe 30 minutes, I'm pretty much unstoppable. I wouldn't go that far, but I do pretty good. I held the infantry flag for a little while. I didn't have any mob because I didn't have any cavalry. I didn't build any siege engines. I didn't build any religious stuff. I just don't use that kind of stuff. Okay, so this is where everything matters. I killed 641 units. I lost 258, which means I had a 2.48 ratio for everybody who died. Everybody who died. So they killed 2.5 people per death, which is very good. Generally speaking, if you win in this and this, you're winning. This is also what it costs. So remember I was telling you about siege stuff, how it's really powerful? The thing is though is that it's super expensive. So if you build a cannon or a trebuchet, they're really good except they cost a lot. So you might need to kill 5 or 6 units uh, per cannon in order to justify the cost. My units they're more expensive, but they kill a lot, which is why they're only about, a normal unit's like maybe 30 gold, 30 food, and this one's 50 and 50, but I'm killing, 2.5 to 1, so it's a good ratio. I destroyed 83 buildings. I lost 6 of my own buildings. Most of them were the walls when, they first came through. Yeah, that's pretty much it for that. Let's see, military. Veteran, my most effective was Veteran Minuteman, and then Minuteman was my least effective unit. I only use a couple units, so this doesn't really matter. Battles. Okay, so this is the initial battle that I almost lost. It was considered a victory, but you can kind of recoup what happened. And I had 220 because this battle lasts from 17 minutes to 46 minutes. So it wasn't that I had 120 at one given time, it's just that's how many units I had in all. So as you can see, I counterattacked, and then this was when I was just holding it and they attacked me again. I just barely survived. See, they converted a bunch of guys. But as you can see, I lost a lot of units. I lost 53 and all that stuff. where I lost 33, and so I lost about 42. But as you can see, they lost a lot more than I did. See, they had 21 priests alone. And then this is when I started my attack on them. And you can tell, see how like First Battle of Illinois, that's First Battle of Illinois is actually my like where one of my provinces. So when I attacked the city of Puck, or the province of Puck, this is when the 1st and 10th Infantry attacked the wall. I lost 56, but you know I just like just went through everything. And this is when I invaded. Oh, this is still that same battle. And then where did my second? Okay, 2nd Infantry Division. Here it goes. 152 guys. It's like by the time I invaded, yeah, I just like walked through. Like they barely had any forces in the area. So economy, yeah, like I just outproduced them in every category. I don't generally need these two because I don't use them, but I do need more gold and I need more food because that's pretty much what I do. And my whole motto is to produce more than what the other guy's producing. So trade, they were trading. I didn't trade anything. Um, they had 11 leaders. I only had 5, and I killed most of mine off just because I don't use them. I lost some things. I built a bridge. It's like they need roads, civ powers. I'm not even sure how to use that, honestly. They converted more units than me, but I conquered more territory and stuff. I was going to build, if the game would have lasted longer, I would have built wonders, but it didn't last long enough to worry about that. Yeah, I had all the technology stuff. They had more, so I only built one university. Some of the other, like the computers will build one per province, so they tend to have a lot more than me. Okay, so this is really where it mattered, where you can see how you did. So as you can see, when they had a lot more units than me, and then they attacked me, brought me down to 0, and they still had 60 army units. So they could have just walked right through and pretty much won the game without any real problem. But they didn't for whatever reason. I think it might have been the choke point or the fact that I started producing a lot, so they wanted to retreat and regroup. But that was really their chance to win. And generally, when I play, it almost always comes down to a situation like that. Like almost every time that I play, it comes down to like if I can get through the first 15 minutes or 20 minutes of the game, I'm good. Citizens, like, I try to keep my citizens at a stagnant level. So what I'll do is I'll get what I need, and then I won't produce more citizens after that. It's usually around 60 or 70 territories. So yeah, I only had 3 for the longest time. And if they would have, since they had so many, if they would have just maxed out and produced an army, it would have been me with like 250 guys against 600. So I would have lost. But the computer just didn't build as fast as I did. Getting through the first 20 minutes and being able to have such a large army force so early really is what wins. Like if you see here, like once I hit here, my army grew like exponentially. I never even hit a population limit. Like I was able to capture territory and expand faster than I could build. Anyway, buildings, this is normally how it goes when you play the computer, is that they will keep building until they start losing territory, and then they start losing, and you keep building generally. They had trade. They had trade with the barbarian thing, and then we didn't move any epics. So, all right, so that's pretty much how I do it. Anyway, buddy, I'll talk to you later. I hope you enjoyed the video. See ya.